kids, welcome to room 12. Ordinarily when I do Google Meet, I'll have a live meet in progress sign. And as your kids walk into the classroom, this is what they're greeted with. We try to make it their home away from home. During the first day of classes, the kids brainstormed their goals and their hopes and their dreams for the year. We took pictures, and they also wrote their goals and dreams on their little speech bubble. Also, what I have to show you is these are all of the books that we have done for our ELA unit. It's called Stories with Lessons and Themes. We've read most of these. I have a pile back here as well. And then as we read each one, we talk about the author's message, and we post a picture of the cover, and these are the actual lessons and messages that the kids have extrapolated from after the readings of these various books. And what's really nice is that we're promoting text connections, text to text, text to self, and text to world, and these are great books that pop up during our conversations. One of the books we read, The Name Jar, the kids talked about the meanings of their names, and Miss Duffy and I try to find the meanings if they didn't know. Some of the kids were really cute about knowing who they were named after. So that was one of the projects as a result of one of our reading books with lessons. The first day of school, we also brainstormed class rules, and we let the kids have a say in their class rules, because if they have a say, then they'll have ownership and they'll be most likely to remember them. So the blue group on Monday and Tuesday came up with this set of class rules, and the gold group on Thursday and Friday came up with this set, and they're quite similar. Another part of our Stories with Lessons, we read Can You Fill a Bucket? And we talk about bucket fillers and bucket dippers. And in fact, I think I read that in one of our Google Meets. And when the kids returned to class, they brainstormed ways that they can fill people's buckets. As we walk around the classroom, there is our smartboard. And it just so happens to have our Google Classroom. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. And then sometimes I will put up lessons, and I will use a smartboard to do math projects, and so on. Over here in our dry erase board, we've made Friendship Pie, and this was part of an assignment as we read the book Enemy Pie, and the kids brainstormed ingredients and ways to make a friend. So we read the book Enemy Pie, they made Friendship Pie. We'll show you their work when we got into the hallway. Also at home, thank you for all of your support with all the assignments at Google Classroom. The kids had the apple taste test, and they came up with adjectives. So the blue group, we now erased it for gold group, we're ready for gold group. The blue group came with adjectives, and we brainstormed new ones, and we will show you the bulletin board as a result. Miss Duffy had a great lesson. The kids were using such tired words as good or tasty, and we expanded our vocabulary using different adjectives as well. Here again is the text connections, text to self, text to text, text to world. And that has been the main comprehension strategy that we have been highlighting this first domain. Now we're moving on to our second domain, which is what makes a fairy tale. And I shared the fairy tale elements in Google Classroom. Here's our anchor chart at school. So that's our second domain, and as you all know that they have done fairy tales in first grade, but we're taking it a step further, and we are comparing and contrasting the fairy tales with a fractured fairy tale. And I'll do a little bit more examples later. Here's our harvest fund. We're starting to have pumpkins bloom. We're going to have pumpkin work there. That'll be coming up in 2 weeks. So we'll put pumpkin work there. Here are some Apple word problems, a lesson that Miss Duffy did with the kids, highlighting word problems and finding ways to solve using picture clues, charts, and different strategies. It's amazing what strategies the kids come up with. So we got that going on. And you recognize these apple trees. We did those at home. And here is another project that the kids started with paint. We learned about the seasons, the 4 seasons of the apple tree, and we have to have a carryover lesson. We'll do that next time we meet. So Gold has this fun in store for them. And the kids learned about what the apple tree looks like in the 4 seasons. Another highlight we have in our classroom is the mural of Little Red Riding Hood. And we compared and contrasted the classic tale with a fractured fairy tale. And this was just a cute little craft in between our comparing and contrasting that the kids came up with. So to remind you about comparing and contrasting, the kids will hear a classic version and they'll hear a fractured fairy tale. So that's changing the fairy tale, like a contemporary twist. Here the characters are changed, sometimes settings changed, and so on. So as part of the fairy tale domain, we have different fairy tales that we will feature. We'll feature the 3 little pigs. Here's some fractured fairy tales. Here are just some of the many books that we have, fractured fairy tales and classic fairy tales. Also, you'll see baskets, the book baskets. The top book baskets go by themes, and the kids are allowed to pick from those. Miss Duffy and I try to guide them toward the appropriate reading level. We don't want anybody reading too hard a book, and in the same respect, not too an easy a book. And over here we have book baskets, and the boys and girls are able to get go book shopping and pick books at their level. So when we are meeting in guided reading groups, they're able to read while they're waiting for me to call them, or they're able to write in their journals. If you notice, the desks are paired, but there's only, at any one time, there's only a blue student on Monday and Tuesday, and then there's the gold student on Thursday and Friday. So no students are ever sitting next to each other, and as we measured it, each desk is 6 feet apart, and even more so. So this is where the kids have their formal mass breaks, or if they get tired and they need a mass break, they sit here. So what I'd like to do is show you our bulletin boards out in the hallway. I'll put my mask on so my voice may be muffled. So the kids made friendship pie. So they brainstormed different ingredients to make a friend. We first talked about how to make a friend, and then we used ingredient words. So for example, we have here a scoop of friendship, 5 scoop of trust. We have sprinkling of sharing. We have 1 tablespoon of the golden rule, and so on. So the kids had a really good time with this, playing with the words and thinking of how to be a good friend. Another highlight of our Apple unit is the children discussed with Miss Duffy the life cycle of the apple, and they used transition words to discuss the life cycle of the apple. And then as we were talking about the adjectives, the kids brainstormed adjectives and wrote sentences with rich language and a different apple. So we have plenty of room now for the gold kids to add their apples. Over here, the boys and girls read The Dot, which went with our theme of stories with lessons, and it's with mindfulness, and the students were able to think beyond a dot and make their creations. The last part to highlight is during our Google Meets and distance learning. I usually sit here, and Miss Duffy usually sits here. So these are our workstations, and this is where the magic happens. This is where we think of all of our ideas and try to make learning fun. In these kind of sometimes challenging times, we try to make things as best as we can, and I think we're off to a great start to our year.
So I've prepared a slideshow for you, and it kind of has a scaffold of how our year will play out. You can refer to it anytime. I will keep it on Google Classroom and on my website. I'm not going to read it word for word. That's for you to take a peek. But the opening is that I strongly feel, and I think the kids have shared that with you, that the golden rule is our way of doing things in our classroom. Treat others as you would like to be treated. And from there, that builds a foundation for future learning. If a child feels good about themselves, then they will be successful in learning. So our daily schedule is listed here, so take a peek at it. Our main goal for the day is to get our ELA block, which is guided reading, shared reading, and also writing, and we also try to get our math done as well. You see we have ample mask breaks, and there's lunch, recess, and we also have special, and we get science and social studies integrated within ELA by the end of the day. Now I'd like to share a little bit about the ELA curriculum. There's a lot of information I'd like you to read through. I'll just highlight a few pieces. Our curriculum themes, we have a district-wide curriculum that I helped write with some colleagues from the other 3 elementary schools. Our first one, as I've discussed in our video, is Stories with Lessons, where students learn the author's message. Themes such as kindness, friendship, loyalty, and honesty, and trustworthiness are all addressed. Next, as you know, is fairy tales. Then in November, we'll be going on to nonfiction, and we'll be featuring nonfiction text features such as captions, table of contents, diagrams, and so on. In December, we'll do holiday celebrations around the world. We won't just hit the ones that we think about. We also hit different holidays. We'll hear about Eid. We'll hear about Diwali, Las Posadas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Chinese New Year. So we'll also hear about the customs and traditions that are passed on and that are shared and now celebrated in America. January and February highlight Fighting for a Cause, which we learn about prominent Americans who have done notable and many accomplishments as they fought for freedom and justice. And then after that, kind of dovetails with that, Fighting for a Cause is famous women. We'll highlight famous women that have such as Amelia Earhart and Helen Keller. Then we'll go on to life cycles of spring animals, and then we'll do an insect unit, and then Under the Sea. There are other components of the ELA curriculum that you can take a peek at: guided reading, shared reading, journal writing, and writing workshop, as well as listening and speaking. So ELA distance learning, you're probably most familiar with. I try to get a comprehension assignment accomplished in the week, independent reading, reading and writing, which is critical analysis of reading of a book in the form of a book review, book report, or fact sheet, and then writing. Word study, of course, with the spelling. Our math curriculum will be highlighted and presented through the Eureka Math program. The first unit we did a lot of review, being we wanted to see where the kids were at coming from first grade and their time off. Now we're ready to go back to the workbook, and we'll do some featured lessons. We have measurement in centimeters next, place value, double digit and triple digit addition with subtraction with regrouping. That's, as you know, is carrying and borrowing, multiplication, graphing, geometry, and introduction to fractions. So for distance learning math, you're very familiar with that through the Google Classroom. The kids will be given math workbook pages to do in their homework workbook, the Eureka Math workbook, and also the Google slides that I make up. They'll practice word problems as well, and they'll do new concepts, and they'll work on math fact fluency. So science and social studies will be integrated within ELA, and here are some additional science and social studies topics. We will be working on a STEM lesson soon in November, and I think the kids will enjoy that. We'll do some of those experiments at home. Here's a special schedule. It's the same. Just remember that gym class is always the second day that your child is in attendance, and take a peek at the schedule. So our mass breaks, we take formal and informal. All of our mass breaks take place in our seats, which are, as I showed you, 6 feet apart. We always have a mass break during snack, during lunch, after recess, and after specials. Of course, if kids need informal mass breaks, they can sit at their seat and take it as needed. We require them to wear masks as they walk around the classroom, they go to the bathrooms, as they socialize with their classmates and with their teachers. As we meet in small groups, such as guided reading groups, they wear masks as well. So distancing kind of goes along with mass breaks. As I said, the kids are seated 6 feet apart. As we socialize, they wear their masks. We try not to have any sharing of supplies. If we do, we make sure we wash anything with Clorox wipes. When we walk to gym class, they wear their masks and try to keep a distance, or at dismissal as well. We have music and we have art in our class. So for lunch and recess, we definitely highlight hand washing throughout the day. As needed, we have formal hand washing times before snack, before lunch, after recess, and after gym class or special. As you know, lunch takes place in our classroom. For recess, you can read more information about that on the slide. And for recess, the kids go outside and they wear their masks, but they're able to take mask breaks at designated areas of the playground. So for grading in the classroom, we will give the children tests. We just had our math test. Gold will have their math tests as well. We also give exit tickets, and I will grade writing assignments and projects. Any new work will be checked over. For distance learning, I will look over the slides. I'm able to access them at any time, and I will provide feedback as needed. Any of the formal grades will be added into PowerSchool, and you have received the information in the beginning of the year. You can log on and see the parent portal. So I've just found out how birthday celebrations will be celebrated this year. If you would like to have your child celebrate a birthday, please email me with a few weeks advance. The birthday food needs to be purchased and sealed and in unopened containers, as well as the drinks. If for some reason you had a child who had a birthday in September and you wanted to bring in treats, feel free to contact me as well. So feel free to look through the slideshow for more specifics, and I thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, you know how to contact me via email, or if you have any questions about a Google Classroom assignment, you can note it then. If you want me to give you a call, I can call you at my the nearest time that I have available. I do have a prep time at 12:45 to 1:30. As I said, we are off to a great year, and I couldn't do it without you. I understand and I appreciate your schedules, that you're working and you're helping them to do their work at home, and I know it's not an easy feat, and I do appreciate the support. I would like to thank Julie Duffy for helping me to put this presentation together. She's been such a wealth of knowledge with all the technology piece, and I thank you all for being patient. I'm so used to teaching in the classroom, and I'm just learning to teach online. So I hope for a great year, and as I said, we're in this together. Thank you.